Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your also glorious and beloved MaceValor, and just like the title says, Squarespace has horrible customer service, and I'm so glad I'm no longer using them. Now, I want to preface everything by saying that as a platform, it might work pretty well for some people, but in my experience, Squarespace worked terribly, and I don't think I'll be coming back anytime soon. Now, I do believe it's very beneficial that people that are doing any kind of business in their life, or they're trying to promote something that they're doing creatively, or just like networking in general, it's very beneficial to have a website. I work as a handyman quite a bit, and having a website is fantastic for when I hand out cards. Like, hey, if you want to check out my portfolio, you can go on my website. You guys can see all of the stuff that I've done previously for other clients. You can see reviews and stuff that people have left with their user experience of using my services. So having a website is a very beneficial thing. However, my experience with Squarespace, it kind of ushers in all these other thoughts about it's 2019, the tail end of 2019, and seeing customer service just dissipate completely. Now, what I mean when I say that is I'm a handyman in what's known as the gig economy. Apps like Tackle, Handy, TaskRabbit, my preferred platform of choice. All these platforms share one core thing in common, is that you can never get a human being on the phone, not as a client nor as a technician. And it's problematic for both sides. See, as a client, if you're paying money to utilize a platform for its services and an issue arises, or there's a question that just cannot be answered through their FAQ, or it needs to be answered in a timely manner, it is extremely beneficial to get a human being on the phone. Outsourced or not, it is very beneficial to talk to an actual human being that can walk you through the steps that, a listicle online is not really going to specify any pertinent information for you. Where it gets even worse is as a technician. And this is why I feel that being a technician, or being the person that's essentially making that platform profitable, it's far worse for you not being able to get a hold of any customer service. That is to say, not being able to get a hold of anyone on an actual phone for any kind of information whatsoever. So I'm going to start things off talking about Squarespace, my experience with it, and why I no longer want to use their services, and then I'll filter on through to the technician side. Starting off with the client, and then we'll follow through with the technician. So as a client utilizing a service, I utilize Squarespace to kind of kickstart my brand. You see, I just released a book. It's called Shelter, right? And part of the promotion for the book, I needed to have a website. And the reason why I needed to have a website is so I could also do Amazon affiliate links, as I'm promoting my book out. When I promote my book on Facebook or Instagram, I want the link that's tied into it to be the affiliate link, the Amazon affiliate link for the book. So if I make sales on the book on Amazon, that's great, but then I also get a cut of anything from the affiliate links, the positive feedback loop. Problem that I'm running in with the whole Squarespace debacle is the fact that I did everything correctly. I made sure my website was live, I confirmed my email, everything was perfectly fine, but for whatever reason, it never went live. I found out about this because my Amazon affiliate account was completely shut down, and the reason why is they couldn't verify the website was even active. And it was supposed to be set and forget. I should have paid more attention to it, so I'll take the blame on that one. So I check out my website, it hasn't been live at all, and it's like on my end it says it's live. I don't know why it's not. I type it in outside of being logged in, incognito mode, and lo and behold, nothing pops up, which caused quite a concern. So I broke down everything and I emailed support. And the problem with emailing support is one of two things happens. Either you get a bot that looks for keywords in your original email, and then they send you an automated response that have responses and tips and tricks and advice and FAQs that are specifically directed towards the keywords in the email that you originally sent. You never get to talk to an actual person. That's kind of a really, really bad headache to deal with when trying to address something that has a little bit more nuance to it. And then the other thing that happens, you'll get in touch with an actual person. It takes a little bit longer than hearing back from the bots, but you'll hear from an actual person. But then again, they might as well be bots, because they skim through your email, because they have tons to go through, so they can't spend a whole lot of time on just one. They look at your email, They read the pertinent information that, might pertain to your situation. They look at certain keywords in there and they're like, okay, so this is his issue. Let me pull this up. Let me take a look at his website. Okay, well, I don't know what the problem is. Let's email him back real quick. Okay, here's some makeshift solution, which has nothing to do with what you were asking about in the first place, because they never properly read all the contextual information in your email. It's at this point, it's a lot more beneficial to talk to an actual human being. It saves time for me as the consumer, the client of Squarespace, the one utilizing the platform and their services, to be able to talk to a human being like, hey, no, this is what's going on. They could have gotten me to stay, no problem, had I talked to an actual human being. But the fact that I had to spend a week jumping through hoops, email after email after email, relaying the same information time and time again just to get a response that was either automated, didn't deal with the problem that I had whatsoever, or completely glossed over any of the pertinent information that was specifically designed to my issue at hand. Not having those things was extremely detrimental to my customer service experience, which is ultimately why I left. Yeah, Squarespace is very easy to use, and everything that any of the ads will ever tell you, yeah, those things remain true. The downside about all of it is the fact that, well, let's face facts, it's garbage in terms of customer service. The fact that you can't talk to an actual human being can detriment the experience entirely. This is coming from a guy where I can't stand ever calling Verizon Wireless. They have some of the worst customer service ever. But they're better than Squarespace because I at least can get on the phone with a human being. Now, touching on to the technician side and why I feel it's a little bit worse. The technician is the one that makes the platform beneficial. It gives profits to the platform. We're the ones that go out there and do the actual work. Obviously, this is, in my case, referring to the gig economy and the different platforms, Uber, Lyft, etc., etc., etc. What all of these different platforms have together is low overhead. That's the common goal. Have low overhead, have high profits. And the best way to do that is to minimize any kind of customer or clientele, technician service whatsoever. There was a time with TaskRabbit, which I thought that they were the best because you could get a human being on the phone, but one thing led to another, and that was gone as well. And it's gotten to the point where if you have any issues, even if you refer to their live chat, they kind of shoo you away as soon as possible. It's kind of a headache in the gig economy to get anything done as a professional, because the platform wants to remain as hands-off as possible because we don't want to consider you an employee, so we have to keep our distance. But at the same time, though, we're going to have a set of rules set up that treat you like an employee, rules and guidelines in terms of services that you need to adhere to, otherwise you will be booted from the platform. But we're never once going to address anything that comes to light. If there's ever an issue, if there's ever a discrepancy, whether it be with a job that you're currently on or a payment that we missed to send you, we're all hands off on that because you're an independent contractor. This is really detrimental to being in the gig economy, making revenue for ourselves, as well as contributing to these platforms. You see, these platforms, it's all about making money at the end of the day, and for everyone involved. The customer saves money by using our platform. We make money by working on this platform, and then of course, the platform itself gets their cut. The downside about all of this is that when an issue arises and either the client or the technician can't call and can't get a hold of someone to, take care of business as soon as possible, the gears start to turn in opposite directions. It's like a snake eating its own tail. If we can't address things in a timely manner, how are we supposed to effectively use the time that we have on the platform with the services that we provide, any of the work that we do? And this is something that's been in my mind for a long time. It's 2019. You would think that a lot of these companies would kind of get their stuff together, but unfortunately they haven't, and it's really irritating. So I've actually gone through today and with this whole Squarespace experience, and I've had to double down, not just with Squarespace, but with multiple different places that have me set up on auto renew. And today is when I was like, you know what? I need to kind of set that up. I need to kind of get that all away. I need to turn a lot of these off because none of it's working for me. None of it's benefiting me. And in my attempt to try to cancel, they make it as complex as possible. There's a certain phrase for this. It's like blacklisting or something like that. It's a certain phrase, but basically what it means is that a website designs their interface in such a way to where it's extremely difficult to find exactly where you're going to cancel. We don't want people to leave our platform. We don't want people to leave our service. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it as hard as possible for them to even find out how to cancel. It's a headache. It's a pain. It truly, truly is. One of the big things with Squarespace is that they don't offer refunds whatsoever for any reason at all. I mean, I guess depending on, when you get certain goods and services, it kind of makes sense. But in certain lights, for me, for example, I paid for a service that I was never actually able to use because whatever happened on their end just made it so that my website never actually went live, even though it was telling me that it was. And that was a service that I paid for, and I'm not allowed a refund for it. It's one of those things where I just cut my losses, wipe my hands clean of it, and walk away and never come back. And then that's the other thing, is that when you do go to cancel and you finally figure out that one magic spot, we're gonna try to see if we can convince you to stay. A lot of websites do this, and there's nothing wrong with that. I wouldn't mind if it was right there in your settings, like, hey, user, settings, billing, cancel, done, right? I wouldn't mind that whatsoever if it was nice, easy, and quick. And then as I go to cancel, they try to convince me to stay. But no, you're telling me that you're going to try to convince me to stay after I spend 2 hours trying to figure out how to cancel the service in the first place. I've already gotten a headache from having to find this in your guys' poorly designed user interface. And now you're going to try to say, oh, we'll give you 50% off next month, or we'll do this, or we'll do that, or please stay, or you have to click cancel several times until it finally gives you the confirm, because it keeps trying to guilt trip you into staying on their platform that you at this point really don't want to be a part of at all. And the sad thing is that it actually works. It does work with a lot of platforms. I know Amazon's a big one on it. When you cancel Prime or Audible or Kindle Unlimited or what is it, Prime Music, whenever you cancel these things, they put you through this purgatory of sorts of trying to get you to stay. And they do offer some pretty beneficial bonuses if you decide, well, maybe I won't cancel. And if you do decide to stay, you get a little bit off here or there because they want to keep you in the ecosystem. Yeah, these things work on people, and I kind of don't mind it. It's kind of a very business savvy thing to do, but I'm not a fan of not having any real customer support. Customer or technician support. It's 2019, moving on to 2020. What happened? It used to be if there was something wrong with a product or service that you had, there was a number you can call and you can get someone on the line. But now a lot of corporations, they just see dollar bills, and for a company like Squarespace to be the size that they are, and they're very proliferate, they're very, very popular, yet they don't want to provide a decent customer service experience. The number one excuse that I've heard, and I've heard this from Handy quite a bit, is that, well, we're a high-tech company and we've done studies and we've figured it out that the number one way to reach people is through email. Email has never been the number one way to reach people, ever. It wasn't in the early 90s, it wasn't in the early odds, and it's definitely not now. Turn of the decade is coming up, and email is still getting some kinks removed out of it. I mean, you don't have that immediacy of a response with any kind of correspondence between two people through email. Yes, can it be quick? Yeah, but with companies, no, it's never quick because you have to take a ticket. I would rather wait on hold for 30, 40 minutes to an hour than wait for almost a week to get a response to an email. I will take time out of my day to sit on with the elevator music or whatever trendy pop stuff is playing on their radio. I don't mind that. What I do mind is my time being wasted, the time I sit to dig through, find your contact us page, write you guys an email, get a ticket, and then just have it run off into the ether and never hear back from you guys, just to have to open another ticket and wait once again. It's inane, it's archaic, it's ancient. Telephones were designed, telephones were made. I don't see why it's so difficult to give people an option to call. One of the big things is that it's overhead. As I said earlier, you have to pay people to man these phones and all this stuff. Well, there's call centers. There's separate companies that these people can hire. Like, hey, I want this company to be the call center for our customer support. Here's basically our book on everything that it pertains to our services. So if someone calls, this is like essentially the Bible of information that you guys will utilize to help the customers. And if there's something that it gets to the point where it's too much and you know, there's nothing in this book that can help this person's particular situation, we have a group that you can refer them over to. Basically, hey, we've done everything on our end. Let's forward you over and we'll have you talk to the guys at the actual office. I don't see what's wrong with that. I think it's very beneficial and it will help a lot of people. But instead of having people on the phones, they have a dedicated team of people sitting and sifting through emails, when it would be a lot quicker to get someone on the phone, talk to them, work out the issue, and then be done with your day. As always, I'm most so glorious and beloved MaceValor, signing off.